Here is the long-awaited Sony update version 1.01. The most important feature is the ability to enable or disable the movie button on the NEX7 camera. Also, another very important addition is the addition of exposure settings of bracket shooting, which is 1, 2, and 3 EV as opposed to 7/10 total EV, so it's phenomenal. Improvement of response for showing auto review image, improvement of image quality when using a wide angle lens, and improvement of indication when setting flexible spot. That is your improvements with the Sony NEX7 1.01 upgrade. I will show a tutorial now how it's done. This is a firmware upgrade for the USB port camera Sony NEX7. You go and get your menu button pressed on your camera, and then setup, and scroll on to USB connection. Be sure the USB connection is at the mass storage. At the same time, I'm downloading the update NEX7. It's a 50 megabyte file. Just about finished here. Then I can double click on that and run. Connect the camera to the computer. I'm going to do that now. You open the side of the camera, connect the little mini USB cable, turn the power on the camera, which is on. I don't want, that's a different program, I don't want that. Now I click next, verifying the camera and computer, so it's kind of hopefully verifying it right now. I've got 77% battery power, which should be plenty. That will give me a good hour running time. Okay, check the version. I know it's the initial version that came with the camera, so I'm not going to even check. It says version 1 is a current version. Version 1.01 is after the update. Get next. Click next button. I guess you hit the center button to reset it. Camera center button in the control wheel. You set the center button, that will reset the camera. So now the camera is being reset, or it is reset. It's a good sign things are working, it looks like. That record button, hitting it by mistake for the movies has been the biggest pain in the butt. I'm so happy they took care of this update. They've done some really good things in this update. I'm very, very pleased that Sony did it. I was afraid they never would. I heard that Sony lets their camera models just go obsolete so they can sell new models, but in this case, they stood up to the plate. For HDR photography, they've changed the settings in that too, so you've got a broader HDR range. Before it was rather worthless. You had, like, I think 7/10 of a total shutter or aperture setting difference. Now I think you've got 3 aperture setting difference, so they really stepped up to the plate. This camera will now do a fairly good job on HDR. I'm very, very happy with Sony that they've done this. So things are really good with Sony. I'm just pleased to the dickens. We're just waiting for the update here. Probably take about a minute and a half based on what I'm seeing in front of me here. We'll speed the video up just to not make you wait so long. You know, so often when I wanted to take a picture, I want to press a shutter, and then the doggone, I must have hit the red button for the record of the movie. And many, many, many times, probably at least 100 times during my last vacation, I took about over 100 gigabytes of photos and movies. But probably about 100 times during that time I had a movie running when I wanted to take a picture. So it was the most irritating thing. I was going to build a plastic cover to put over it. But now the fact that you can disable that movie mode when you don't want it, that is just totally fantastic that Sony lets you do something. A better option I thought would be push the movie button twice to start the movie, and that would have maybe kept it easier, you know, as opposed to going to a menu and disabling and enabling. But I'm just happy they made a fix on that. I will keep the movie button disabled except when I need it. I bought this camera for photographs, not for movies. It does take very good movies, but again, for the most part, I want to take pictures, and I don't want to delay when I'm trying to take a picture and suddenly I must have hit the movie button by mistake. That's been such a pain in the butt. I'm so happy they fixed this. Here again, to confirm the version in your camera, select Menu, Setup and Version. It will show version 1.01. If you see that, eureka, you've done it. Once you've got the camera going with your new program, if you go into the Setup menu and you scroll down, it will give you a movie button. It says Movie Button. It's on right now and you can disable it. You can hit off for the movie button. Then if you try and hit the movie button, it says cannot shoot movies with the current settings. Enable movie button in the setup menu, so they make it very easy to use. So the big changes are the addition to enable or disable movie button, addition of exposure settings of bracket shooting 3 frames, 1, 2, and 3 EV, improvement of response for showing auto review page, improvement of image quality when using a wide angle lens, and improvement of indication with the flexible and setting flexible spot. So that's your big improvements on this particular version. Again, thank you, Sony. On the bottom I've got a link to Sony's website where you can download this latest firmware version.